There's a power within you. It lifts your life to its highest level. It brings success, companionship, happiness, health, and peace of mind. As you tap into this power, it will respond to you because this power is within you. And that's why spirituality rocks. Welcome. I'm your host, Dr. Janine Burns, and I'm thrilled to be with you for another episode of Spirituality Rocks. Please check us out on the internet. Our site just went live at spiritualityrockstv.com. I just came back from the memorial service for the Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman in Chicago, Illinois. It was the best day of my life. It was so inspiring, so empowering. We had so many speakers. The music was sensational, and it just took me back to my roots and really helped me to remember who I am. To remember that there's a power within me that is greater than anything that can come before me. And it was fantastic to be there. And today I have a real treat for you. We have back with us, friend to the show, Temple Hayes. Temple is the author of the book, When Did You Die? 8 Steps to Stop Dying Every Day and Start Waking Up. Going from being disconnected and drained to energized and impassioned. And what I really love about this is that Temple fits right in with the mission of Spirituality Rocks. And our mission is to inspire and empower you to awaken to your divine nature, expand your consciousness, and teach you skills for life mastery. This book has oodles of skills for life mastery. And so without any further ado, I'd like to welcome to Spirituality Rocks, Temple Hayes. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much, Janine. And you do rock, and I love your energy and all that you're doing to be part of a changing world by reaching people whose world isn't changing. So I have great respect for you, and I'm just humbled to be here with you.
Fantastic. Thank you, and great to be here. The book is what I call juicy. It is a juicy book. And there are so many people who are disconnected and drained, and like they're just going through life with emotions. And what I liked is how you spelled out how people get disconnected. Could you talk about how we do get disconnected? Please talk about that.
Well, I think it starts in the very early stages of our lives that we have influencers. I remember when I was in school, perhaps you had this happen. Do you remember the first time you were in elementary school and everybody started screaming in the hall, get up under your desk because something's going to happen to us? Did you ever have that happen to you, Janine?
Absolutely.
I think that's one of those first defining moments, when we feel that fear and we're like, whoa, we need to listen to people. And, of course, other people on top of that received a lot of information in religiosity, authoritative, or too much discipline in parenting, you name it. But there became a level of fear when we started allowing ourselves to be influenced by what they said rather than, does this feel like it's appropriate for me? Somewhere along the way, an individual starts listening to they told me to do this versus, am I getting the insight inside myself that this feels right for myself?
Exactly. And also looking for approval from other people. That's another thing. And one of the things that you also said in the book, which I thought was interesting, is even social media. It's so interesting. Sometimes when I'll travel around and do my work, and I'll see so many people with their heads down on the phone. I actually one time saw 2 teenagers on the same sofa, and I said, what are you doing? They were texting one another. They weren't even talking to one another.
Right.
Well,
yeah. And there's so many ways that it offers us so many blessings. We can read the newspaper, magazine, or whatever. We can do different things while we're in a lobby or on a subway, what have you. But on the other hand, we don't want to be all consumed by it as a consumer. We want to have spaces in our lives that we're back out in nature, that we're connecting to the silence, that we're creating spaces for the mystery of life to still present itself.
Right. And that we can be fully awake and alive to it. Yeah. Now, one of the things you said in the book, and there's so many things, I've already even asked you to be on the show again because there's so many things. It says here on page 19, we all need to be seen, validated, and recognized. We need to step back into our innate gifts. Please comment on that.
Well, in school, there is the valedictorian, but in life, there's the validatorian. And those are the individuals in your life that you've been fortunate to know that really validate who you are, how you love, what you care about, what matters to you, what's significant. And a lot of that comes from our early development as children, the kind of mirrors that we see reflecting back to us, whether it's approval, esteem, recognition, those kind of things. A lot of us did not have that. A lot of us did not have a mirror that we could say, oh, they look like me, they're like me, we're kind of alike. And so you go through life seeking, I just need someone to validate me. I think often people find that when they go into to see like a chiropractor or they go to see someone to guide them, you can have an ache and a pain. And your biggest concern is, I hope it's not something wrong. But once you talk to somebody, a professional, and they validate what it is, it's almost like you could have an instantaneous healing because you've been validated.
Right.
What you felt or your concerns are no longer warranted with the condition, and you're able to free yourself from it and let it go. So being a valedictorian for people that you care about and that you love, I mean, those are the things that keep energy in our bodies. And for me, that's what the book is about, is how to have energy, how to stay forever young, have a thriving life, and walk through changes, walk through grief, walk through your feelings. We're human beings.
Right.
And we're not robotic. We're not plastic. So let's enjoy those aspects of ourselves and work with them rather than having feelings work against us.
Excellent, excellent. In the book, you say that we're here to express the divine image in which we've been created. And you talk about the authentic self. And so the authentic self then is that divine nature. And then you say our life is like a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah. That's been one of my favorite metaphors.
Yes.
I think because so much of my life I felt like something was missing. There were many times in my childhood that I felt like I was missing because I just felt like no one could see me. And I always had this like soul ache, like something's missing. And if I could get that, then maybe I could be okay. And one day I discovered the awareness like a jigsaw puzzle. I used to sit with my grandmother and we would put together puzzles. And when we would get almost to the end of the puzzle, we would almost argue about the piece being there. And we would say, well, look at the image on the box. There's a color red. So it's got to be in the box, We would never question the manufacturer. And when you think about it in that way, why do we question our creator? We have all the pieces that we need to have the life that we're destined to have. It's a covenant. So the dreams that we have, the things that we would like to achieve in our lives, we wouldn't have those placed in our heart if they were not meant to come true. And so once I started seeing it that way, I stopped, being upset with the creator, upset with, who I was, but more willing to look at, I have everything that I need. It's in place. I just need to become a better me and open up to my awareness.
Exactly. And what's so beautiful about that is when we live from our authentic nature, we each have a GPS, and this is fantastic. You call it our God personalized system, our GPS.
You bet. And, we're very fortunate because with this kind of metaphor, we actually have it in real life. And it's example, if you say, Janine, that you're going to come visit me at St. Pete Beach, Florida, and I'm just knowing that you will, and let's say you're going to take a road trip, more than likely you would fly. But if you entered in that address into your navigating system in the car, then you're going to pay attention to what it tells you. And you're going to listen to if it says left or right or get on the center state or what have you. And I've actually been in the car with people that the navigating system will tell them to go a certain direction, and they don't want to do it. They go, this doesn't feel right, you know, and I'll say to them, have you ever been here before? No. Well, this is a satellite system. Don't you think we ought to trust it? And I'll say, you know, you can't hold the navigating system, the GPS, responsible if you don't listen to what it says. And I think that's where a lot of people in our society today, that they've gone a little bit too far to the left or the right, in that they have a dream, they want a healthy marriage, or they want a great career, or a successful radio show, or whatever it is. And they put the knowingness into the arrival place, but they're not listening to the messages that they're getting to tell them to go in this certain direction. And when it's not working out, then they get upset with the God or the Creator or Spirit. When it's not, it's because they're not listening. You know, when people say life isn't working for me, what I know that they're really meaning is I haven't learned to work with life. Because when you learn to work with life, you will have challenges, but on the other side of those challenges, you'll have more energy than you started out to begin with.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I want to delve more into that after the commercial, but I want to tell the people about the end of every chapter where you have ideas to process and integrate. This is fabulous because this gives us an opportunity. You'll give a key point, and then you'll make a suggestion of what we can do to embrace this idea and make it real in our lives. And what you do talk about in one of them, in the chapter Time to Wake Up, is you say that we're all created from a place of wholeness. But if we're always treated as broken and driven to be perfect, we're not going to be able to fully self-express. And that you say to aim for connection rather than perfection. I love that. That's great.
Yeah, well, it's what really works for me, because in the heart archetype, Angeles Aaron talks about the heart archetypes, one of them being the healer. And so many of us have the capacity to be a healer, whether it's a parent with magic words, you know, it doesn't have to necessarily be your profession. But having said that, the shadow of the healer is perfectionism. And so we have a lot of people that could be helping be part of the change for our planet, but they're too busy trying to be perfect rather than being themselves.
Yeah, wow. Yes, yes indeed. Well, your chapter From Fear to Feeling to Freedom is so important. There's so many people dealing with changes, significant changes in their lives. And so right after this brief commercial break, I'd like to look at that in From Fear to Feeling in your just absolutely fantastic book, When Did You Die? 8 Steps to Stop Dying Every Day and Start Waking Up. We'll be right back with more of Spirituality Rocks.
Hi, my name is Dr. Tom Dow. We have a multidiscipline practice in Melville and Ronkonkoma, New York, and we treat patients with many, many different conditions, from newborns through geriatric patients with numerous different techniques. There's a technique and a type of treatment for every class of patient. We have them all here. Here's my son Thomas, also a doctor of chiropractic, working on one of our patients' cervical spine. This patient has had chronic neck pain for many, many, many years, has been to a multitude of different practitioners with little or no response. And with our specialized techniques, she has improved tremendously and continues to improve on a daily basis. We have two practices, one in Melville and one in Ronkonkoma, New York. We are a multi-discipline chiropractic office. What that means is we have chiropractors, massage therapists, acupuncturists, psychologists, all working as a team and a network of outside professionals such as orthopedists and neurologists that we work hand in hand with to help determine what your injuries are and the best way to treat your injuries. I have the great pleasure of having my son in practice with me. We work hand in hand, father and son, to give our patients the best care possible, and a staff which is loving, caring, and you'll never have to wait at all in our office for service. Many times patients come into our office and they have what's called a soft tissue injury. Soft tissue injuries are like scars inside your body. If you've ever been cut on the outside of your body, you get a scar. The same thing happens inside of your body to your muscles and ligaments. So our job is to determine where those are, stretch the muscles, adjust the vertebra back into their correct position, and then refortify the normal structure with exercise. That's what we do best, and I hope someday you'll come see us at one of our two offices. Thank you.
Welcome back to Spirituality Rocks. We're with Temple Hayes from St. Petersburg, Florida. She's joining us on Skype. We're at the Madhouse TV studios in Deer Park, Long Island, filming live. Her book is fantastic. It is called When Did You Die? 8 Steps to Stop Dying Every Day and Start Waking Up. And what I'd like to address right now is from the chapter called From Fear to Feeling to Freedom. What you say here is so important to see the various responses we have to situations and really feel them. And I think we don't like to feel them. We're taught, buckle up, be strong, get your act together. And I think for many reasons, because if we feel the feelings of whatever's going on, we maybe think the feelings are going to eat us up. And I also think the people around us, if they see you getting upset, are concerned that they'll get upset and it can just get, for them be very difficult. But why do you tell us we need to feel the feelings?
Well, I think, first of all, we have to look at the practicality of common sense that we are created to have feelings.
Okay.
From the very beginning of life, self-esteem is innate, it's natural. If you look at a baby having feelings, I'm hungry, I'm upset, I'm mad, I'm happy. You look at the beginning of creation of that of a child, and it's so organic, it's so authentic. I'm mad and upset because you took my toy, and in 3 minutes I've forgotten about it. I don't remember it because I felt it, I've acknowledged it, and I've moved on. We are then somewhat programmed, if you will, or blocked by the people around us, part of our village or our tribe, and they'll say, oh no, as a little girl, it's not okay to do that. As a boy, it's not okay. And, all those little self-imposed mantras that then people become. And what will happen over time and over years is that there's so many feelings that are blocked and drowned out that often people resort to staying numb through alcohol, through drugs, through different, pharmaceutical usage and things like that. But what I say in the book, Janine, and I feel pretty strongly about it, we can lie to ourselves all we want, but eventually our body will lie us down.
Ooh, indeed.
Because we cannot deny an entire part of who we are. And I remember early on, I was always connected to spirit. I was saved by nature and that connection. And I remember along the way having this illusion of confusion that one day I would become so spiritual that I wouldn't be, human anymore.
Right.
That I'd just be sitting around oming and in a blissful state, all the time with my fingers in a certain position, and. And then what I realized is, why am I trying to play God? Instead of allowing God to play through me. I was created as a human being. What I have found, the more spiritual I have become in my practices, the more human I have become.
That's fascinating. And the more spiritual you become in the practices, the more human you become. So in other words, you're becoming more authentic. You're becoming more of your real self, your authentic self.
Absolutely, and you feel the feeling, you recognize it knocking on your door, you're aware that it's there,
Okay.
and you welcome it. Here you are, and sometimes are easier than others. I remember when my father died unexpectedly in 2002, and I got a call, that he had had a heart attack, and immediately I had the premonition that that was it. I just felt it inside, and I went, rushing to South Carolina to tell him goodbye. And I literally had that heartache of, like, I realized that country music wasn't just singing about heartaches, that as a metaphor, but it was actually a real feeling. I mean, my chest felt like it was going to, split open. And I remember in that moment and through those first initial weeks of how much pain I was in, with the loss of my father. But I made a defining decree to myself, Janine, that on behalf of my father's life and dedicating, towards my love for him, that I was going to be so much more energy once I walked through all that grief. And it's been amazing for me. And I'm not less, I'm more. And obviously I'm talking energetically.
Right.
And we're not taught that in our society.
No.
We're programmed that the more you go through, the less you are. You
Right.
hear people say, oh gosh, with everything you've been through, I don't even know how you get out of bed in the morning. I mean, it just becomes this, yada, 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 sacred martyr story. And it's not how we're designed to live.
No.
When we prune a moment, then we can thrive more as time goes on.
Exactly. Oh, I love that. And yeah, because so many people do gloss over their feelings. We try to push them down. And as you wrote in the book, you said we're going through the motion without the emotion. And what is so wonderful that you write about in the book is that if we're willing to just sit with the emotion, we can get to the other side. Like if it's time to cry, cry. And how it just is released then. But we're not taught that. And we're just taught to avoid.
Exactly, and we're literally, once we really experience it and we really feel it, we are in freedom,
Right.
because there's no reason for us to experience it at that depth again, because we have healed it. And the unfortunate part today is we have so many therapists, so many ministers, so many people in public positions that have not felt their feelings, and therefore they're not comfortable with their clients having them either. And that's not where we have our breakthroughs. I mean, when we look at the word breakthrough, it clearly has an ache and an ooh in there, in order to happen.
Wow, that's cool. I'll be using that one. A breakthrough. Exactly. Yeah, I think that's really prevalent what you've said. And I think sometimes people were not willing to feel our feelings because we're afraid that we can't, that we'll never get away from them. And then so we end up with this victim mentality, and we also don't trust ourselves. Then we really learn not to trust ourselves. And you talk about trust a lot in the book. And one of the things you said, which I think is really cool, is that trust is a muscle. Trust is a muscle. And you tell this great story of you who used to be a super duper athlete, apparently, and that you, in order to become, well, you were, and in order to become
I love you. You're so energetic. It's awesome.
Well, and so in order to become a successful athlete, it required you to work out in the weight room 3 or 4 days a week. And so you first went to the weight room, and of course, you went up to the heaviest weights that you could lift, and you picked them in, and you jumped right in with the heaviest weights. But then what happened, you strained your back because you took on too much at one time, and you'd hurt yourself. And so you didn't allow your muscles to build slowly. And, stretching and then relaxing and stretching and relaxing, which is how you do it. And you said that trust requires weight training as well, but not weight like you lift something that's heavy, but weight like you pause, W-A-I-H-T. I thought that was a great analogy. Talk to us about this same concept. Weight training, it's just a different spelling, W-A-I-T. Trust is about W-A-I-T training.
Oh, thank you. I have had to learn in my life how to go in different doors in order to get to the deeper truths within myself. And when people talk about the opposite of love is fear,
Yes.
For me, the opposite of love is trust.
Got that.
And so often, people will say they don't trust their creator, they don't trust life, they don't trust God, and all those kind of things. And so I encourage people to start exercising trust in small increments. Don't try to jump fully in 100% and say, well, I've gone from hardly not trusting the universe to just jumping wide in. It's too much, too fast. And so you do it incrementally, a little bit here, a little bit there. And part of that is the willingness to wait. It's kind of like somebody said one time, it's a great idea, I wish I had thought of it. It will always work out for the best in the end. If it hasn't worked out for the best, it's not the end yet.
Love that.
And so it's the ability to believe in either your dream or the outcome or the new work coming or whatever it is, but the ability to sit in the place of waiting with a W-A-I-T-I-N-G in order for that to come true for you. I think the other way they say it, Janine, is God's delays are not God's denials.
Right. Oh, that's perfect. God's delays are not God's denials. That's fantastic. Well, I think that's a perfect segue into a brief commercial break. And when we get back, I want to talk about the 4 bones that everybody has to have in life. We'll be right back with more of Spirituality Rocks.
$1.3 million women are victims of physical assault by an intimate partner each year. According to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, the majority of cases aren't reported to the police. Most people who are in an abusive relationship don't even know they're in one. The truth is, all abusive relationships boil down to one thing: control.
How do you like it? My new dress.
Are you out of your mind? You look like a prostitute. We're not going out with you dressed up like that in public.
But what am I supposed to wear?
Wear something decent. You can't wear that out in public. We're going to be late. Get back in there and pick a different outfit. I'm going to go run some errands. I'll be back in 30 minutes. Please be ready, okay?
Fine, I'll change. Fine.
Abuse is not always physical, leaving wounds that are visible on the outside. Emotional abuse is just as painful, only these wounds are hidden on the inside.
Are you out of your mind? You're crazy. You look like a prostitute.
Know that abuse is abuse, no matter what the form.
Look at me.
Oh my God, what's wrong with me?
Physical abuse scars the body,
I just want him to love me.
but mental abuse scars the mind.
What you just saw was an example of a relationship that is emotionally abusive. Nobody has the right to tell you how to dress or how to act. If someone really cares for you, they won't tear you down. They will build you up.
How do you like it?
Wow. You look great. Fantastic. But then again, you look great all the time.
Thank you. I was hoping you'd like it. It's my new dress. I bought it just so we could go out tonight.
You look stunning.
Thank you. But I think I'm going to take a sweater just in case it gets cold tonight.
Great idea. I'm going to take one too. Let's go.
All relationships are not perfect, but a healthy relationship is when two people bring out the best in each other and have each other's good in mind. Take your time to know someone instead of rushing into something. It is better not to involve yourself with an abusive person than to try and get out of a domestic violence situation.
If someone is abusive to you and you need help, please call the Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-SAFE. That's 1-800-799-SAFE. They have highly trained experts available 24/7 who will speak with you confidentially and offer information regarding the unhealthy aspects of your relationship, resources, or immediate support for victims to find safety and live lives free of abuse. Domestic violence affects us all.
It affects us all.
It affects us all.
모두에게 영향을 줍니다.
Che ci ricarte tutte.
It affects us all.
Domestic violence.
Hey, welcome back to Spirituality Rocks. I'm your host, Dr. Janine Burns. Our website is live, spiritualityrockstv.com. Please check it out. And also, please contact us if you know someone that you'd like to be on our show who you think really resonates with New Thought Principles. Let us know. That would be fantastic. Now, back to the book, When Did You Die? 8 Steps to Stop Dying and Start Waking Up Every Day. This is a book about going from being disconnected and drained to being energized and impassioned, the way we all want to be. With us from St. Petersburg, Florida, is the delightful, inspirational, fabulous, and brilliant Temple Hayes. Welcome back.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
My pleasure.
We said that at the same time. Okay, cool. So, there's so many goodies in the book. I have pages of papers here. And so I'm just trusting that I am divinely guided to go to the right ones. And one of the ones that really caught my attention was that what we really need are 4 bones, B-O-N-E-S. And the 4 bones that we need that you put in our book is the backbone, wishbone, funny bone, and hollow bone. Tell us about backbone.
Well, the backbone, we always need our courage.
Yep.
It takes courage to be who you are.
Yep.
It takes courage to walk through your life experiences. It certainly takes courage to be unique and to stand up and stand out and stand for what you believe.
Yep.
There's no doubt about that.
And it takes courage to be your authentic self. Yes, that's what you're saying.
Right. It takes tremendous courage to move beyond what someone thinks of you
Right.
and be in a greater level of what you think of yourself.
Yep.
By allowing yourself to become fully realized as who you are.
And then wishbone is next.
The wishbone is by far to always have those dreams. I believe that, we're designed in nature to always stretch from where we are, and not from a place that we're not enough, but from a consciousness that it's natural for nature. You look at all thriving life in nature, it's always becoming more. So it's important to have dreams that stretch us. I like to say somebody thought enough of us to stretch so we could be born. Let us continue to stretch ourselves so that rebirthing process can happen over and over and over again.
That's wonderful. And next is Funny Bone.
You know, I can't imagine life without a sense of humor. I really can't. Marie Osmond said, you know, you're going to laugh at yourself one day. You may as well do it now. And that's one thing for sure, is that I laugh a lot. I can laugh about mistakes and forgive myself. But it's learned, you know, it's a learned skill, especially when you come like some of us did in having that inner critic and being so hard on ourselves towards that perfectionism. It's wonderful to be able to laugh at ourselves and shake it off and to be into fun. As we know, a lot of people say they killed their own cancer just through the profoundness of laughter.
Right, right. And the next one is we need a hollow bone.
That is a big part of life, I think, because when there is the place between the no longer and the not yet, it's a beautiful place to be, because you may be able to sit in a place of not even wanting what you once had or wanting it to be the same, or perhaps you want it to be different, and you wind up getting these nice life surprises that you never dreamed were possible. You know, the phone call that you didn't expect, or the new friend that's more like you versus a friendship of the past or whatever. So I'm a real strong believer in being comfortable with what I don't know. People think knowing something makes them comfortable. I would think that coming from a place of thinking we know too much, well, first of all, it's an illusion.
Right.
But I'm very comfortable in what I don't know, because if I did know that, well, I know that already. I want to know something new.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh gosh, there's so many things that I just love here. I love the story about don't forget how to row your own boat. And you give workshops and you sing, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. But so many of us are trying to change others and have them conform and, you know, make them the way we want to be, and we get controlling and not paying attention to our own spiritual business as it would be. Talk to us about that, rowing your own boat.
Well, you know, for me, it can be as simplistic as sometimes I have the good pleasure of doing a christening service. And when all the people gather to represent that child, I ask each of them individually, what do you hope and know and expect for the life of this baby? And they all give me their answers. You know, I want the child to be happy. I want the child to believe in this world. I want the person, you know, to grow up to have faith. And then I look at all of them and I say, well, then that's what you have to model. If you model that, and that's what the child sees, that's what the child will be safe in becoming. And so from that perspective, esteem, and if we really want to affect others, it's by getting ourselves together. It's not by projecting our own drama and karma and trauma onto other people and attempting to change them. I love that quote, and I'm sure you will too. Stop teaching the pig to sing.
Stop what? Say it again.
Stop trying to teach the pig to sing.
Oh, yes.
It annoys you and it makes the pig angry.
All right.
You can't ever change anyone. The only way that we could ever even come close to thinking we're impacting someone is if we are modeling, truly modeling the qualities. And if a person then comes to us and says, I would like to learn how to do it. Right. Tell me how. That's different. But otherwise, what are we trying to do? If we're we're trying to create a club so we can be more comfortable with ourselves, or what is that really? We're not here to play God. As I said earlier, we're here to allow God to play through us. And I may not know what's best for somebody else any more than I know what it's like to be in someone else's shoes. And more often than not, I'm, working on my own life.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. Wow. Well, I just tell you, this is a fantastic, just absolutely extraordinary book. And there's so many goodies in it. I've really been taking the time, because you had the ideas to proceed and integrate, taking the time to really absorbing and embracing it and looking at the different ideas in it. I encourage people to check it out. The book is available on Amazon, or go to Temple's website. It's templehays.com, TEMPLEHAYES.com, and you can see more about Temple's work. She is the spiritual leader at the Unity Campus in St. Petersburg, Florida. She is an internationally recognized leader. She serves on the Leadership Council of the Association of Global New Thought. So before we go, I would like to know, is there a spiritual truth or idea, some kind of nugget? What would you like to leave the people with? What thought or affirmative prayer, your choice, would you like to leave the people with?
I think that the greatest power is in right now. And I heard that a long time ago, and it changed my life. You start where you are. And so if you make a decision right now to start putting your whole self in, to start working with the idea of feeling your feelings, to start wanting to really change your life in a way that you can feel comfortable with who you are, it is baby steps. But if you make the decision to start and begin, you're literally going to start calling in experiences. New things will come into your life. Things will knock on your door 3 times. And have that trust that it will happen, because it will.
Wow, that just felt really good, like a cup of warm milk and some cookies in the middle of winter in front of a fireplace. That was fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much. Can people, if they go on your website, do you have CDs of your talks, or are you on YouTube? How can people hear more about your work?
On my website, everything is listed out as to how people can do more with me or get more involved or follow I do daily inspirations. For those people that sign up for my daily inspirations, they get a free chapter of the book. Right away, it will be sent to them. I'm also doing a cruise in September, and all that information is there. And I'm going to take people to Alaska. And not only will they enjoy the pleasure of nature and the beauty of the Alaskan experience, but I will be teaching some of these things that I'm talking about and leading people through some uplifting and dynamic shamanic exercises.
Wow. That's Alaska. Do you know the date on that cruise to Alaska?
Yes, it's September 19th through the 26th.
Okay,
I also have a weekly radio show. That I would love to have you on the show also.
Fantastic.
And so I have a weekly show and a lot of ways of social media.
Perfect.
So I'd love you to go to my website, templehays.com, and find out more about what I teach and what my passions are.
And we would love for you to post on Spirituality Rocks on Facebook anytime you want. We love you, we bless you, we praise you, and we appreciate you. I'm just feeling so richly blessed and so happy that you've joined us on Spirituality Rocks. Thank you so very much. Temple Hays, everybody.
Namaste.
Namaste. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
We have a brief commercial break, everybody. Real brief. We'll be back with Bill Marcioni, who created God Calls. Be right back with more of Spirituality Rocks.
going to do a live commercial. Hi, I'm Renee Marie. I'm the president of Language of Love Incorporated Foundation. I'm really happy to tell you that we're going to be doing a Language of Love telethon on March 29, 2015 from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Please look for the location on my website, ReneeMarieLanguageOfLove.org. And once again, it's ReneeMarieLanguageOfLove.org. And the show will be hosted on the Madhouse TV. It really is important for you to be aware of strokes and aphasia. Strokes is the third leading cause of death in America and the first leading cause of disability. And it really is something that plays no favoritism. And it also really comes when you're not expecting. Nobody expects to have a stroke, and nobody expects to suffer from aphasia. And it really does make a huge impact in your life and change your life in one split second. So we look forward to having everyone join us once again on March 29, 2015 from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. And you can follow us on ReneeMarieLanguageOfLove.org. Once again, it's ReneeMarieLanguageOfLove.org. And we look forward to seeing you. God bless.
Are you planning an event and want to include entertainment, but you're not sure where to turn? Act1Entertainment.net has provided over 1,500 events with quality, affordable live entertainment at private parties, corporate affairs, festivals, bike rallies, and more. Act 1 will fit into your budget. They're friendly, reliable, and do all the legwork for you. They take all major credit cards. Log on to Act1Entertainment.net for a free, no-obligation price quote or call 631-758-3505 for a brochure. You'll be happy you...
You are watching Spirituality Rocks TV. I encourage you to go to our website, spiritualityrockstv.com, and check us out. We're also on Facebook. And I'd like you to know about the Women's Gold Rush Conference. It's going to be March 13th through the 16th. It's fantastic. Women'sGoldRushConference.com. Please check it out. Also, we're cruising down to Cancun with the affiliated New Thought Network, and that is in April. And we will be, you can check that out at newthought.org. That's newthought.org. Now, joining me on the phone is my friend and colleague, Bill Marcioni. Bill Marcioni is from Philadelphia, and he is a co-director of a spiritual center there. He's written the book that's called Practical Prayer for Real Results, which is just fantastic. He's been on a prior show. You can check that out on YouTube or Ustream. But today he's called in to talk about God Calls. God Calls. You can check his website, www.godcalls.com. Welcome to the show, Bill Marcioni.
Well, thank you, Reverend Janine, and it's wonderful to be here. Quick correction, godcall.org, one godcall, and then .org to find the
okay, so it's www.godcall.org. It's .org. Yes. Okay, great. I love the God Call. What happens is just randomly throughout my day, the phone rings, and I get a call from the universe, so to speak. Tell us about it.
The idea is it's stop, drop, and pray. There is always the opportunity to be more spiritual in our lives, and what happens is everybody goes through their life. We got 1,440 minutes in a day, and everybody gets distracted by whatever it is that's going on. The idea behind God Calls is to just make a phone call. It's an interruption. It's the device that we carry around that we're used to responding to immediately. And instead of it being somebody else who's demanding our attention or giving us something else on our to-do list, the God Call is a half-a-minute reminder that you're the bright light of God's love, and that love is shining through you in a unique and wonderful way. And the message changes every time, but it's always that same idea of stop what you're doing, turn your attention to the truth within, to that bright light that you are, and let it shine even brighter. And it's a different message every time, and people tell me that that's exactly what they needed to hear when they heard it.
Yeah, and it's great. It's brief. I would say it's about 30 seconds to a minute. Is that about right?
30 seconds. Yeah, the goal is to keep them to a half a minute.
Okay.
Because the idea is we don't want to use up people's time, and it's supposed to be a distraction from what you're doing, not to take you away from what you're doing.
Right.
So it's just a chance to take a little 30-second vacation and take a breath.
We can keep you and get you centered. Good. And what I do is when I, because I have it on my phone, I labeled it God Call. And what I do is let it go to voicemail, so this way I can listen to it over and over, and I can listen to it when I want. And that's what I like. I like to listen to it more than once. I can just tap on it. I have visual voicemail on my phone. Tap on it and listen to the message again and again. So it's really cool. So
well, thank you.
Yeah, it's very cool. And the sound of your voice is really wonderful. I love God Calls. It's great. So now tell me, how can people sign up? What do they do? Tell us more about it.
The idea for God Calls, actually, it started out as something that my prayer group and I just did spontaneously. We would call each other and we'd call each other talking, whether it's voicemail or live, with that reminder that you're loved.
Okay.
And so we took that same idea and turned it into a program that's working on a much broader basis. So if somebody wants to try the God Calls out, they go to godcall.org, and you can listen to a sample while you're on the website there, or you go through the subscription process. It costs $5.95 a month, and the first 2 weeks are free. So you can try it free for 2 weeks. The calls are like, they go out 4 times a week. So during that first 2-week period, it'll give you the interruption, it'll give you the content, so you'll know what it's going to feel like to do that. The charges are through PayPal, and it's really easy to just keep it going as long as you want to. And if you're interested, you want to dip your toe and not be committed, then you can sign up and cancel at any time.
Oh, and what's great is there's some samples there as well. And gosh, that's really inexpensive. Less than $6 a month to have an inspirational message every single day come into your voicemail to empower and to support you. That's fantastic.
There are some people who absolutely love it. There are people who are huge fans, and they set up a special ringtone, and they tell their friends it's God calling, and they listen to the call then. And there are some people who it just made them crazy. There are people who are so high strung that they would jump out of the shower to get the God call and then be exhausted afterwards. And so it's right for some people, and the idea is give it a try and see if it's right for you. And it's all about having these pieces fit together, because there's not a one-size-fits-all. People have asked me, can you do this as a text message? Can you do it on Twitter or an app or something like that? And we can use the technology that way, but the whole idea is to stop what you're doing and turn your attention to that truth and that love. And it's 4 times a week.
And 4 times a week, great. Yep. And so how wonderful during the day to just stop and remember to remember. That's one of our other friends to the show, Dennis Merritt Joan, uses that phrase, remember to remember. And so this is what the phone calls afford us to do, to remember that magnificent essence, that loving presence that is within us. So that's fantastic. I think that's great. So people can go to www.godcall.org. That's www.godcall.org. It's right across the TV screen right now, so they can check it out. So, are you going on the cruise? Are you coming to the Cruise in Consciousness, which is April 16th out of Fort Lauderdale? Will you be there?
I am going, absolutely. I'm already signed up, and I'm looking forward to it, and I'm going scuba diving when we get to Cozumel. And if this cruise were leaving today, that would be all right, because it's 15 degrees here in Philadelphia.
Oh!
The Cozumel's nicer.
Yeah, much nicer. Well, I'm excited about the cruise. I'm on the committee. I don't know if you know I'm on the committee.
Yep.
And, gosh, this committee is just rolling along like a wave on the ocean. It's fantastic. Our keynote speaker is the Reverend Dr. Sheila McKeithen, who is the new president of the Universal Foundation for Better Living. Talk about knocking your socks off. This chick, oh, wait a minute, I don't mean that disrespectfully, it's just kind of how I talk. This woman is just amazing, just absolutely spectacular. So we're going to have a great speaker. We have workshops planned. We have opportunities to get together and hang with like-minded people. And on top of it all, we're on a cruise to Cancun. We're going to stop at the island, hang out. So if people want to know more about that, they can go to www.newthought.org. That's www.newthought.org, and they can find out more about that. And so, Reverend Bill Marcioni, your book, Practical Prayer for Real Results, is fantastic. And what I like about it is that you have 40 prayers in it that are really fantastic. How do people get that book?
The book is available on Amazon. It's Practical Prayer for Real Results, and it's basically it's a primer on how you do practical affirmative prayer. or spiritual mind treatment, to make it really simple, and a little bit of Mad Libs where you choose one of the prayers that applies for what it is that you want to create in your life. There's a blank line where you can fill in your own specific affirmation, and you just let her rip. It's a great learning tool.
It's a fantastic learning tool that makes the process of learning affirmative prayer, because in the past, we've been taught to beg, cajole, and plead a power outside of us to do something for us. Rather, with this book, Practical Prayer for Real Results, you empower people to learn about the power within, to go within, and to pray in a positive, life-affirming way, in a way with gratitude, a way with joy. So it's really terrific. So I enjoy it so much.
Thank you.
Well, I
As
think
Ernest Holmes used to say, there's a power for good in the universe greater than you are, and you can use it.
Exactly. Thank you, Bill Marcioni, for joining us on Spirituality Rocks.
Thank you.
Well, do check them out at godcall.org, www.godcall.org. I'd like to tell you about some upcoming shows. We are having, in a couple of weeks, Reverend Will Mercer is going to be on the show. He has a brand new book about consciousness. Kim Yalda is going to be on. She is the administrator for the affiliated New Thought Network. We are having, at the end of the month, we are having Bonnie Barnard, just a prolific author. So you'll want to tune in for that. Please tell your friends about spiritualityrockstv.com. Let them know that there's a place that they can go and hear incredible teachers that can empower them and teach them real techniques to move their lives forward with ease and peace and joy. And please comment on Facebook. Let us know what you'd like to see more of the show. Let us know the guests you'd like to see. And do check out our new website. It's www.spiritualityrockstv.com. So I thank you so much for joining us. I want to thank Tommy Marr, my producer. I want to thank my sound engineer, Janine Zarelli. Thank you so much. We're filming live from the Madhouse TV studios in lovely Deer Park, Long Island, New York. And so until next time, remember the power within you is greater than anything that you may experience in your life. I am the Reverend Dr. Janine H. Burns. I'm with the Guiding Light Foundation, signing off on this episode of Spirituality Rocks.